From smashing their rackets all the time to getting into arguments with the umpires, let's take a look at some tennis players that fans love to hate. Right off the bat, it's Alexander Zverev and his troubling antics. Now, Zverev is a tennis player who has been custom designed since his youth to be a superstar once the Big Three era winds down. But his personality is certainly holding back from winning fans around the world. For many fans, Sasha's just another youngster who's loud, bold, and arrogant. I mean, it's not like fans don't want to see excitement or even raw emotions. That can be entertaining at times. But the German has overstepped the mark on several occasions. Although he's a promising talent and fans do love to watch him play, he's got a nasty habit of abusing umpires, fans, tournament officials, and even sponsors.
When? In half an hour? They haven't even turned it on.
Oh, the problem is, I think the light.
See that it's dark?
Just last year, he was thrown out of the Mexican Open after he violently smashed his racket on the umpire's chair. The Olympic champion was suspended for 8 weeks and fined $40,000 for the outburst. Even though he ended up apologizing both publicly and privately to the umpire, it really didn't help his image.
The way that I acted and what I did. I have apologized for it. I know that,
Honestly, it would be a shame if all his talent was wasted just because the tennis player couldn't learn to manage his temper. At the end of the day, he's just another young player who needs to take a leaf out of Roger Federer's book. Now, let's talk about another tennis player who couldn't keep his temper in check. It's Andy Roddick. Most of you might remember Andy as the last male American to win the Grand Slam title. A-Rod used to have a lethal serve, which made him difficult to beat. But besides his brilliant gameplay, the American tennis player was known for his temper. Roddick was pretty famous because he would rarely leave the court without saying something offensive to the umpire or his opponent.
I'm gonna give you a warning for freaking ineptitude.
No stop.
I give you a warning. I'm giving you a warning.
At the 2010 US Open, Andy disagreed with a line judge who said his right foot rather than his left had been over the line during the serve. The tennis player just couldn't handle being called out. He began to question the overall quality of the officials and even remarked, "Call 1-800-REF." Fans were quick to label him as a drama queen.
When you know he's hurt and all you want to do is just deliver that knockout blow. You don't want to keep playing that game of wondering.
The very next year, during the Mutua Madrid Open, Roddick lost it when he gave away an easy point. The star then smashed his racket violently and the onlookers were left shocked. Andy didn't just stop there. He walked up to the umpire and asked if he had been warned for his actions.
Have you given me a warning yet? Have you given it to me yet?
When the umpire responded with a no, he smashed his racket yet again. The umpire finally issued him a warning after this. It's safe to say that fans didn't like this side of him. Moving on, even one of the members of the Big Three hasn't completely won over the fans yet. I'm talking about Novak Djokovic and his outbursts on court. Honestly, where do I even start with Novak? The Serb has, over the years, made a name for himself in the tennis world. Unfortunately, his controversial views have landed him on this list. At this point, the entire world knows that Novak has declared himself anti-vaccination. To no one's surprise, that didn't sit too well with his fans or literally anyone in the world.
Whether you want to get vaccinated or not. And I have not spoken about this before, and I have not disclosed my medical record.
It didn't take long for people to call him out and try to cancel him over this. But this wasn't the only time the Serb got into trouble within the tennis world. Many people can't stand the fact that Novak asks for so many medical timeouts. Everyone seems to think that the tennis player uses it as a tactic to win games. I mean, it does help in breaking his opponent's momentum, so they might not be completely wrong. Fans saw it happen at the 2016 US Open final as well as the 2020 Australian Open. Then came the 2020 US Open incident, where the Serb ended up losing his calm and hit a line judge with his ball. Fans just don't like it when Novak shows so many emotions on the court.
Cam's here now with a story that has divided the tennis world. Should Novak Djokovic have been disqualified from the US Open?
I mean, you can hate the guy, but that doesn't change the fact that he's an incredible player. If I started listing all his achievements, it would cover the whole video, so I'm not going to do that. But just know that the second the tennis player steps on the court, people can't help but watch his every move with amazement. Moving on, how can I not talk about Bernard Tomic and his lack of respect for the game? Now, Bernard is no stranger to controversy. In 2017, during an interview with Channel 7, the Australian admitted that he didn't love tennis. And he even said that he made his career with just 50% effort.
I never chose tennis, tennis chose me, and I became to enjoy it at a young age. You know, something I never fell in love with. You know, I like it.
Tomic has been pretty vocal about how he only cares about the money he makes and not the game. The Australian doesn't give respect to the game, and that's why fans don't respect him. After losing to Djokovic at the 2015 Wimbledon, the tennis player ranted against Tennis Australia for their lack of support, respect, and funding. That's not all. When the tennis player didn't qualify for the Australian Open in 2018, he commented that he'll be sitting around counting his millions. Bernard was even nicknamed Tomic the Tank Engine for his lack of effort in winning matches.
I just count money, that's all I do. I count my millions. You go do what I did. You go make 13, 14 million. Good luck, guys.
Yikes, that's definitely not a good look to have in the tennis world. All of this just overshadows the little success he's had on the court. Many fans have accused him of intentionally trying to damage the Australian tennis culture. Whether or not that's true, I'll leave that up to you. Now, let's talk about Stefanos Tsitsipas. There's no denying that Stefanos is a great player and fans love to watch him. But he's just never heard the word sportsmanship, and his behavior has earned him a negative image in the tennis world. Just like Novak, the Greek star has also developed a reputation for resorting to bathroom breaks and medical timeouts. Tsitsipas also has the bad habit of getting into fights with the umpires all the time. At the US Open 2019, Stefanos insulted the umpire for being French and called him a weirdo.
Are you going to challenge this to serve or not?
Not only that, but the Greek is also disrespectful to other players, especially Nick Kyrgios and Daniil Medvedev, getting into multiple arguments with them. Stefanos would do well in the tennis world if he cut out these sorts of antics. That being said, if you keep up with tennis news at all, then you would have known that Nick Kyrgios was always going to top this list. You cannot deny that Nick brings something to the game. He's young, bold, and quite violent, but he pretty much ends up overstepping the line in every tournament. Now, to list everything the tennis player has done would take a long time. From launching into an X-rated rant to smashing his rackets all the time and bad-mouthing his opponents. You name it, and he's probably done it. An entire book could be written about all his incidents. And no, I'm definitely not exaggerating. Even the OG bad boy John McEnroe has questioned Nick's on-court behavior and attitudes several times. But now, people are just getting sick of it. At one point, fans believed Nick just needed a little bit of monitoring, or they tried to blame it on his lack of maturity since he was young. But now, as talented as he is, Kyrgios is at risk of alienating everybody in the game, including his fans. Well, there you have it. Those were the tennis players that fans just love to hate.